Welcome to the channel. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to support the project by subscribing to the Telegram and YouTube channels. Click the bell to receive all notifications. Like the video if you found it interesting, and leave comments. You can also follow the links in the video description to articles and read them. This will greatly help the channel.
Okay, so picture this. The lights flicker and then just die. The whole world goes quiet. You reach for your phone, your lifeline to, well, everything, and that's when you see it. No service. Yep, those two dreaded words. It means you're cut off. No calls, no texts, no news. And in a real crisis, whether it's a storm or you're just deep in the backcountry, that digital silence, it's more than an inconvenience, right? It can be downright terrifying. It's a huge reminder of just how we've built our modern lives. You know, the thing is, we depend entirely on this surprisingly fragile system of cell towers, cables, and servers. When that grid fails, we are completely in the dark. But what if you didn't need any of that? What if your message could just hop from one person's device to the next, creating its own network completely on the fly? Well, that's not science fiction anymore. It's happening right now. So let's dive in. It all starts with a technology that, honestly, it kind of feels like magic. It's called LoRa, and it is the foundation for this entire revolution. It's a type of radio that's completely different from anything you've probably ever used. Okay, first up, let's talk about range. And I mean, forget your home Wi-Fi that struggles to get through a single wall. LoRa signals can travel over 15 kilometers. That's nearly 10 miles. And honestly, that's just the baseline. In the right conditions, it can be way, way further. All right, next up, power. This is where it gets kind of wild. A device using LoRa can sit there and run for years on a single battery. It doesn't gulp down power, it just sips it. And that's absolutely critical if you're talking about a sensor you leave in a field for months, or more importantly, a device you're relying on in an emergency. And here it is, the knockout punch. The cost to actually use it is zero. Zilch. Nada. No subscription fees, no monthly bills, nothing. That's because LoRa operates on unlicensed radio bands. You can think of them like public parks for the airwaves. Anyone can use them for free. And when you compare that to the closed, expensive world of cellular networks, wow, it is a total game changer. So to break it down, LoRa is the physical layer. It's the actual radio signal carrying the data. It uses this super clever technique that basically lets it whisper a message over a huge distance instead of having to shout. That's how it gets that incredible range without draining the battery. But, you know, just having a voice isn't enough. You need a brain to organize the conversation. And this is where that brain comes into play. If LoRa is the raw voice, then an amazing open source project called Meshtastic is what teaches all those voices how to have an intelligent conversation and form a network. So what Meshtastic does is it takes all these individual LoRa radios and turns them into a team. See, your device isn't just sending and receiving for itself anymore, it's also acting as a relay for everybody else. Your message literally hops from node to node to node, finding the best path through the network, kind of like water flowing through a bunch of connected channels. This extends the range far, far beyond what any single radio could ever do on its own. So just to make it super clear, think of it this way. LoRa is the physical tech, the radio waves. Meshtastic is the open source software, the smart network that runs on top. You absolutely need both to make all this magic happen. And this is where you really see how smart this whole thing is. I mean, think about it. If every device just blindly repeated every single message it heard, the network would grind to a halt in total chaos, right? It's called a broadcast storm. But Meshtastic nodes are, well, they're polite. They actually listen for a split second before they speak. If they hear that another node has already relayed the message, they just stay quiet. It's a brilliant way to save airtime and keep the entire network healthy. Okay, so this all sounds fantastic in theory, but what does it actually look like? Well, the best part is we're not talking about some crazy expensive military-grade tech. This stuff is accessible and it's ready to go right now. And that right there is the key. We're talking about devices that you can often get for less than $50. Seriously, for the price of a night out, you can own a piece of a decentralized, resilient communication network. It puts this incredible power literally right in your hands. So here are a few of the most popular options out there from a company called LilyGo. As you can see, each one is kind of built for a different job. The T-Beam is a real workhorse. Great for tracking your location on a hike since it has GPS built right in. Then there's the T-Echo, with that awesome power-sipping e-ink screen. It's the endurance champion you want in your go bag. And then there's the T-Deck, which is basically a tiny little BlackBerry for the apocalypse. A totally self-contained computer for sending messages without even needing your phone. How cool is that? Now, under the hood of these devices, you're usually making one key choice when it comes to the processor. On one side, you've got the ESP32. It's a powerhouse and has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, the whole deal, but it is thirsty for power. On the other side, you've got the NRF528040. This one is an efficiency master. It's not as powerful, but its battery life is measured in days or even weeks, not hours. It really is that classic trade-off. Do you want performance or do you want longevity? So, we have the tech, we have the smart software, and we have affordable hardware that you can actually hold in your hand. But why does any of this really matter right now, more than ever before? Because the real-world uses for this are just exploding. We're talking disaster response teams tracking each other in real time when nothing else works. Hikers and skiers staying connected deep in cellular dead zones. Farmers monitoring their fields from miles away. You can even use it just to find your friends at a crowded music festival when the cell towers are totally overloaded. It's just incredibly versatile. But look, this is so much bigger than just a new gadget. This is a fundamental shift. It's about empowering regular people, communities, to build their own communication networks. Networks they own, that they control, and that work even when the main grid goes down. It's all about resilience and self-reliance. So I'll leave you with this thought. By taking our ability to communicate away from expensive subscriptions and fragile infrastructure, we're putting power back into the hands of the community. So the real question is, when connection is something that we can all build and own together, what new possibilities does that unlock for our future?